Hello everyone, I am Makamba Transmission, a music explorer and record collector based in Tokyo, Japan. So in 2024 I bought around 150 records, including singles of course, reissues, new records, everything. But in this video I'm going to focus on just my favorite electronic music purchases, and in other videos I'm going to focus on other genres as well. So without further ado, let's start from the first record that I want to talk about. This is G.O.D. Limited Edition Special, which is an EP originally released in 1998, but this copy is a reissue on the label Dark Grooves from Italy, and this from 2019. G.O.D. is one of the alias used by Jeremy Sylvester, who is a very prolific UK garage producer, and this is a 4-track EP, but to me this EP is all about the first track on the B-side, Shake It Up, which has a very filthy bass line that will destroy any dance floor when it will be played. A good example of what I'm talking about is when Eris Drew, who is a very good DJ, played this track at Deckmantle Festival in 2022, and there is a Boiler Room video on YouTube where you can see this happening and you can understand what I mean. So yeah, definitely my favorite track on this EP, and this was G.O.D. Limited Edition Special. Then we have this record called Dysfunctional EP by Family of Love. As you can see, there's nothing written on the label, but it was released on Aspect Music, which is the own label of the producer in question, who is actually Thomas Melchior, and Family of Love is just one of its alias basically. And this was an EP released in 2012. It also has 4 tracks if I remember correctly. It's a very atmospheric ambient house record, very understated in its tones and emotional at the same time. The last track on the B-side is called Soon, and it's just something special, one of the most emotional house track that I've ever listened to. It starts with a dreamy introduction, and it has some female vocals in the intro, and then the dub reverberated kick starts pumping the rhythm, and the result is just something unique and stunning. For me, in terms of emotional house, the terms of comparison is always Omar S, but this is definitely up there in terms of emotion that you can find in a house record. So yeah, this was Dysfunctional EP by Family of Love, Thomas Melchior. With the next one, we stay in Germany, but we go a bit further back in time to 1993 when this was released. This is Nighthorse by Cybordelics, legendary hard trance single, released on Art House, trance label from Frankfurt. This single is all about the A-side, which is Adventures of Dema, one of the most iconic tracks of the 90s for sure. Just a long introduction with synth stabs, then the crescendo with the several explosion sounds, and finally the kick, putting it all together with the melody. Just an absolutely visionary track, completely ahead of its time, still sounds fresh to this day after 30 years. One of those tracks that I will never get tired of listening to, Adventures of Dema on Nighthorse by Cybordelics. I'm really happy to have found this one this year. With the next one, we stayed around the same time. This was released in 1992, but it's from the Canadian producer Ron Allen and with his alias Kingdom Come. So this is a single, Groovy Baby Jungle Bliss, and is one of the few records with an actual cover from today's video. And this is just one of my favorite electronic pieces in general. Both tracks on the A side and B side are both killers in my opinion. I actually listened to Jungle Bliss first, and I knew that I had to buy it immediately after listening to it. Such a groovy, outstanding track, and I was very happy too. I found this record at E.A.D. Records in Koenji in Tokyo in very good condition, because usually this record you can find it easily, but not so great condition. The A-side, Groovy Baby, is also another fantastic track. Impossible to stay still to such a groovy rhythm. Just deep house at its best. Absolutely recommended if you don't know it. Kingdom Come, Groovy Baby, Jungle Bliss. Ron Allen is the producer. The next one was released as well in 1992, and this is EDN, Don't Make Me Wait. It's a single with 4 different versions of the same track. And EDN is one of the alias of the producer Gianni Visnadi from Italy. Released in 1992, as I was saying, on Underground Music Movement, quite important house label from Italy. This track is, in my opinion, a deep house banger for sure. The A-side has the 2 best versions of the track, Liquid version and Dream version, and it's just perfect late night music with its deep bass, definitely to be played at the end of a party or in certain small clubs that have the perfect ambience and environment for it. It's not very well known, but absolutely recommended. In general, the early 90s have so many house jams to listen to, and it's almost impossible to know them all. The 90s in general, not just house, also many other electronic music genres. But yeah, deep house in particular, starting from the early 90s, a lot of these tracks, not very well known, but definitely recommended. This was EDN, Don't Make Me Wait. With the next one, we change genre. This is in the realm of hardcore, rave music, happy hardcore. And this is the single Lift Me Up, Infect Me by Future Primitive, released in 1994 on Nighthorse. This is a reissue from 2024. This is just a legendary happy hardcore single with its signature piano stabs, energetic music, just one of the best representation of the genre. Especially the A-side, Lift Me Up. It's definitely a classic, and the track I would recommend everyone to listen to if you never listened to happy hardcore before. But I also love the B-side, Infect Me, which sometimes has been a bit overlooked in this single, but it has very intricate breaks and a very good stomping melody, so definitely both sides great tracks. The first one is of course a classic in the genre, but both are to be listened to. This is Lift Me Up, Infect Me by Future Primitive, 1994 on Nighthorse. Here we have another single released on Out of Romford Records in 2023. This is Vanilla Skies by Flatliner. So on the A side there is the original mix of Vanilla Skies, which is more of a standard jungle tune. While on the B side, which is the part that I like the most of this single, is a atmospheric drum and bass remix by New Decade, who is actually the owner and founder of Out of Romford label. It's one of the best atmospheric drum and bass track of the recent years, for sure. Not very well known, but if you like the genre, definitely recommended. Flatliner, Vanilla Skies on Out of Romford Records from 2023, especially the B-side. Another legendary jungle single here. This is Origin Unknown, The Touch, Valley of the Shadows, released originally in 1993, but this is a reissue from 2023, always on RAM Records. This reissue was pressed on yellow vinyl. The iconic track, of course, in the single is the B-side, Valley of the Shadows. So yeah, The Touch on the A side, Valley of the Shadows on the B side. I say iconic because this track shows one of the best use of sampling in electronic music in general, but in jungle in particular. And it has that line when the female voice says, "I was in the long dark tunnel." There is a clear reference to the effect of K.O. and ketamine usage and the influence it had on certain flavors of jungle music, especially the darkest type. And in fact, this one is one of the absolutely darkest jungle track. It sounds like the result of a paranoia attack and the sensation of being unable to escape the anxiety caused by it. It has just a mammoth bass line that would destroy every dance floor. One of the top jungle tracks of all time, without a doubt. And I'm glad this has been reissued, as I never had the chance of getting the original pressing, but I had the chance to get this one. The producers are NBC and Ant Miles. Origin unknown, The Touch, Valley of the Shadows. Next we have two records from the same producer, who is Akufen, who is the alias of Marc Leclerc from Canada. And these two records are great micro house, subtle pieces. It's music that is at the intersection of house and glitch music. I like in particular the B-side on volume 2, with its vocal snippets and glitchy sounds being kept together by the deep drum kick. And then after a while there is a dreamy melody that comes out of the noise, and the resulting effect is just fantastic, and a spark of genius from the producer for sure. Then volume 3, also on this one the B-side is great. It has a syncopated drum kick and vocal snippets. Always gives this sensation of a melody that wants to develop but doesn't have the time to do it. And it's a great example of Leclerc's style, which is quite unique to my ears. So yeah, definitely both of them are recommended. Volume 2 and Volume 3. So next, it's another single. It's a jungle remix of a track which is a collaboration between DJ Sofa and Tim Reaper. DJ Sofa is a Finnish jungle producer. Tim Reaper, on the other hand, is from London and is one of my favorite producers of all time. And the label where it was released is his own label, Future Retro London, that releases just quality jungle music. Many releases every year. Fantastic label, one of my favorite of the recent years and probably of all time as well. This single is a remix of the track Helsinki to London Connection that was released in 2023 on another EP. This was released in 2024. And my favorite one is the B-side, which is the remix by Cheetah and Janaway. They did a fantastic job in remixing the track, and the combination of the bass line with the melody creates something wicked and perfect for an energetic jungle set. Definitely one of the tracks of the year, in my opinion, 2024. Check out also the original EP where the track is coming from, but yeah, this remix absolutely rips. Very good the Sonido remix as well, but B-side better in my opinion. Next we have a great single by Theo Parrish, a famous house producer. This was released in 1997. It's called Moonlight, Music and You. The label is Sound Signature, his own label. Yeah, just an incredible deep house on both sides. So the A style is music, the B side is a track called Moonlight, and the A side is characterized by a fat drum kick, a bit atypical for deep house, but then the synth melody makes its appearance and the vocal sample follows shortly, building a repetitive combination of hypnotic sounds that will leave you speechless at the end of the 12 minutes duration of the track. The second track on the B side, Moonlight, is another late night stunner. Music to be listened at nighttime in my opinion, possibly on headphones. It has tribal drums and catchy synth line. Perfect diversion at the end of a busy day at nighttime. Chance to embrace house music in its full form in a relaxing environment. It's a great single, Music and Moonlight. Moonlight, Music and You is actually called, by Theo Parrish from 1997. And speaking of great deep house, next we have Deep Dreams EP by Wamdue Kids. Just a deep house masterpiece by the genius of Chris Brand with the alias Wamdue Kids. Released in 1995 on Acacia Records. Yeah. The standout track in this EP is clearly Dreams, the last track of the A-side. a sublime house track that takes the adjective deep to the next level. So dreamy, melodic, catchy. Yeah, not much to say. Just do yourself a favor and listen to this track. When I listen to it, I wish it would never end. Just fantastic. The rest of the EP is great as well, but Dreams is definitely the highlight. Wamdue Kids, Deep Dreams EP. And from the genius of Chris Bryan, another single with the same alias as the previous record I showed from Wamdue Kids. This is called Ocean Between Us. It's actually 3 tracks: Memory and Forgetting, Ocean Between Us, and Abduction. Released originally in 1996, but this is a reissue from 2021. And another masterpiece by Chris Bryan. The A-side in particular is just out of this world. One of the best house tracks you could ever listen to. A very melancholic and introspective piece. And in my view, these songs give a sense of nostalgia, and it sounds as fresh as if it was released yesterday instead of 30 years ago. But in general, Wamdue Kids released a lot of quality tunes, as I recommend listening to everything you can find by him. This was Ocean Between Us by Wamdue Kids, 1996. We go back to jungle with this one, classic Ragga Jungle tune released in 1994 originally, but this is a repress from 2001. This is a white label, so nothing is written on it, but this is a single by Blackstar, and the single is Champion DJ, Sound Clash Dub, Kunta Kinte. Blackstar is of course Congo Natti, aka Michael West, a very prolific producer, especially in Ragga Jungle music. The tracks on this single are all Ragga Jungle anthems with the vocals provided by Top Cat. Super fun and catchy single, and of course the legendary jungle rendition of Kunta Kinte rhythm on the B-side. And after this record is going to be remixed countless times, but the original jungle remix I think is this one. And of course the Kunta Kinte rhythm comes from reggae and dancehall, but this is I think the first jungle rendition of it, with its iconic melody that is going to be remixed many times over and over after. So this was Blackstar, Champion DJ, Kunta Kinte, released in 1994. Then we have New War Basics by Marvo Genetic. Marvo Genetic is a Dutch trio, and this was released originally in 1993, but this is a reissue from 2020. Again, another great one. This is ambient tech house, the fourth wave, especially with this long atmospheric intro and dreamy pads borrowed directly from trance music. Then the infectious melody and rhythm as soon as the drum kicks in. Another track that sounds super fresh, even if it's from the early 90s, but I already mentioned before how many great records there are to be discovered from that period of time. In this reissue I think there is also an additional track compared to the original release, but I'm not exactly sure which one. But a great one from the Netherlands, Marvo Genetic, New War Basics, tech house, trance, absolutely recommended. Next we have another single from the early 90s, 1991 in this case. This is Jungle Love by Rockin' Kato. It's a not so famous garage house track, but in my opinion it's a hidden gem. It's probably the lesser known record of the entire video, but just this track in a different rendition on the A and B side has a perfect vocal sample, and my favorite mix is probably the Sucks Out mix on the B side. Super danceable melody, a very groovy bass line. Big recommendation if you didn't know this single. Again, it's not very well known, I think. Just check it out, Rockin' Kato, Jungle Love. Then let me know which version you prefer. Next we have Summer Part 2 by Pub. So Pub is a Scottish producer, but I don't know him that much. I know he makes ambient, techno, IDM music, but I never listened to any of his records. And this was released on Vertical Form label in 2000. And it's actually just 2 remixes of one of his tracks called Summer. And the highlight here is for sure the A-side, which is a very lush remix from the German producer Arvane. It's glitchy and warm, subtle, very melancholic and atmospheric in general. I haven't listened to the original track, so I can't compare it directly, but the remix is certainly amazing. And the B-side is also quite good, the Nick Rapaccioli remix, but the A-side is for sure the highlight of this one. So this was Summer Part 2 by Pub remix. Then we have a record that I've been looking for quite a long time. This is the single Sonic Winds So Long by Seba and Lotek, released originally in 1996 on Looking Good Records, the legendary label by LTJ Buchan. And Seba and Lotek is a Swedish duo who make atmospheric type of drum and bass that was quite popular in the mid-90s. And in fact, yeah, this is from 1996. So Seba also released many other records under different aliases, while Lotek only produced this one, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, in my opinion, this is just a drum and bass masterpiece, especially the atmospheric style of drum and bass. One of the best representation of the genre. As usual of the genre, basically there are long introductions with dreamy scenes, then killer breaks, infectious bass lines. This is just timeless music that will transport you to another universe. And LTJ Buchan, the owner of Looking Good Records, played this repeatedly on his sets, and of course also on the famous Logical Progression mix. So Seba and Lotek, Sonic Winds, So Long, 1996, Looking Good Records. I was very happy to find this one. As I was saying, I've been looking for this one for quite some time. And to conclude the video, this is another drum and bass single. This is Mutant Revisited the Liberty One by DJ Trace and Skyscraper. So yeah, it's a split. Skyscraper is actually a duo formed by DJ Trace himself and Nico. This was released originally in 1996 on Emotive Recordings. This is the original version. And this is a drum and bass single on the tech step sub-style, let's say. Mutant Revisited, the A-side, is just an enormous track that redefined the dark step drum and bass sound in the middle of the 90s with its ominous synth line and very metallic drums, while Liberty One on the B-side is another fantastic track. Again, metallic aim and break, a very heavy bass line. In general, tech step is a bit hit or miss for me, but in this case it's definitely a hit, and both tracks are no-nonsense great tracks. So yeah, with this one I conclude this video. Stay tuned for the next one. Probably next one will be my favorite jazz purchases of 2024. In the meanwhile, I hope you enjoyed this one and you found something new to listen to. Please let me know in the comments, and see you on the next video. Bye.